Tuesday.
Yeah, despite its international protests, Russia is now calling Crimea a part of its territory, as you've been reporting throughout the evening, Laura. Western powers say that they're willing to take fresh steps to punish the Kremlin economically, but the annexation of Crimea could cost the Russian economy in another way. There are warnings that Moscow would have to pay billions each year to support the region. Claire Murphy explains.
Yalta, known as the Jewel of Crimea. But is this historic resort representative of the grand prize or the heavy burden that the region now represents to Moscow's coffers? Tourism is the lifeblood of the Crimean economy, but 3/4 of annual visitors are Ukrainian, who are now likely to make alternative plans.
This year, I think there won't be too many tourists. But nonetheless, I hope the authorities will try to ensure that some will come, because for Crimea, tourism is like food. Crimea lives off tourists.
On the surface, Crimea may appear prosperous, but its 2 million strong population depends on Ukraine for almost all of its electricity, drinking water and food. This will now have to be paid for.
70% of Crimean budget came from Kyiv, so even higher share will have to come from Russia, because Crimea is losing now its tourist industry, getting more problems. So it's another subsidized region for Russian state budget.
Already the income differential is clear. The monthly wage in a neighbouring Russian region is more than twice that brought home by Crimeans. Economists say adding the peninsula to the Russian map could cost anywhere from $1 to $3 billion a year.
Now, there's been a slew of international protests in reaction to the annexation of Crimea by Russia. Britain has suspended its military cooperation with Moscow and also its arms exports. Here in France, French Foreign Minister Laurent Fabius has threatened to cancel the delivery of 2 warships. France struck a €1.2 billion military deal with Russia back in 2011. The cancellation of the delivery could endanger around 1,000 jobs in a French shipyard, and Fabius said that France would only cancel the contract if other European countries also follow suit and take action. Now, speaking earlier in Moscow, Russia's President Vladimir Putin said Russia isn't looking to seize more of Ukraine. That helped to ease market concerns that the Ukrainian crisis could escalate. Let's take a look at where Wall Street is heading this hour on the back of those comments from Putin. As you can see right here, there are gains across the board over in the United States, with the encouraging news of the U.S. housing market also boosting shares stateside. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 0.7% this hour. Now, the European markets, too, closed higher on the back of Putin's comments. Germany's DAX index was higher, for instance, 0.7%. This even as a reading of German economic sentiment plunged on fears of the economic fallout from the Ukraine crisis. Also, look at the MICEX over in Moscow. Russia's main stock market index, it was up more than 4% at the close on Tuesday. Now, here are a few other stories that have caught our eye this Tuesday. Germany's Constitutional Court has given the Eurozone's bailout fund the green light. It rejected complaints the European Stability Mechanism amounted to an illegal transfer of power from Berlin to Brussels. It removes a question mark for the €700 billion fund that's been put in place to deal with future debt crises. New car sales in the European Union rose in February for a 6th consecutive month. An industry body for car makers says sales were up by 8% in comparison to February last year. Car sales are seen as a key measure of economic health. Experts caution, though, from reading too much into the increased sales figures, since they remain close to historic lows last year. And Volkswagen says it won't raise its €6.7 billion bid to buy all of Swedish truck maker Scania. It comes after a panel of independent board members said the German car giant wasn't offering enough money. Volkswagen already holds 63% of the capital in Scania and wants the rest as well. Scania shares, they were trading down on the news that the board of the truck maker is rejecting Volkswagen's bid. OK, that is the business news for now, and I'm going to throw it back to you, Laura, for the sports update.
Thanks very much indeed, Marcus. We'll see you in an hour with more business news. But yes, Dan Levy is here now with all the day's top stories from the